Well, hello, 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 my fellow educators, my dear friends. How is everyone doing today? It's so nice to see the question box on fire already before I even begin. On behalf of MM Publications, I would like to thank you for joining us. My name is Greg Soteropoulos, and today we will be discussing speaking, one of our students' biggest fears in the classroom. But not only our students' biggest fear, but I have a feeling that at some point in your career and when you were studying English, it was something that gave you a little bit of stress too, right? So could you please go to the left or go to the right and find that dashboard? And in that dashboard that you find, there's a question box. Click on that. And this is how we're going to communicate. This is how we're going to interact. Okay, not through the chat box, through the question box. Can you please type where are you tuning in from? And if you can hear me clearly. Hello, everyone from Ukraine, Lima, Peru. Hello, Christian. How are you? Serbia, Mexico. We have Turkey. Many people from Serbia. Oh my goodness, many people from the Ukraine. India, right? Serbia in the house. So many from Serbia. I love it. Excellent. Turkey, Mexico, India again, Peru again. Hello, Ricardo. So it's always a pleasure to have all of you from all corners of the earth joining in with us. And on behalf of MM Publication, right, and before we begin, I would simply like to say, oh, Pakistan, yes, hello. I would just like to say thank you. Thank you for being a teacher. Thank you for passing on knowledge. But more importantly, for changing your students' lives forever, simply because you are that ambassador. You are the ones who are making a difference, okay, in your students' lives. As we say that they are the future global agents of change of the world, right? Without us being there for them, what would happen, right? So we'd like to thank you for your commitment, your patience, your professionalism, right? Your hard work, your grit, and your hustle, all right? And just keep spreading the positivity, all right? And having fun with education. So speaking, oh my goodness, speaking. Not an easy macro skill, right? To practice. But as we see here, the English language is this ginormous stone that is being held up by two strong pillars. And that stone is the English language. And for that matter, it's pretty much any language. What are the two pillars that are holding up the English language? What are the two pillars of the English language? What could it be? Can you please type in the question box, what do you think could be the two pillars of the English language? What do you think they can be? Come on, put those thinking caps on. Type in that question box. What do you think the two pillars of the English language can be? If I mispronounce your name, I apologize because you have such amazing, beautiful, authentic names. Jasna, vocabulary. Love it. Vocabulary is an integral part that supports one of these pillars, actually. It actually supports both of these pillars, okay? Grammar, that also supports both of these pillars. Okay, Esra, you've got one of them. Listening is one of the pillars. And what's the other side? Come on, what are we talking about today? Yes, speaking. Speaking and listening are the two fundamental pillars, okay, of the English language. It is a communicative approach, okay? And what I don't see enough of is speaking and listening going on in the classroom. There have been times where I have visited countries around the world, and I go and I speak to students. I love speaking to students when I visit countries. And they ask me to go and visit the classrooms. And so I'm walking down the hallway and I pass by the English class and they go, "Where are you going?" "It's over here." And I go, "Really? This class that's so quiet, so tranquil, and all I hear is the English teacher speaking. This can't be an English classroom." Because there needs to be this collaboration, this controlled chaos of speaking and listening going on among students, right? And the teacher sits back and observes how they are producing the language. But there are many things that come into play when it comes to speaking and listening, the communicative approach. There are many walls, there are many barriers that are here that are not helping our students to become more effective through the use of English. Their fears are controlling them too much. So let's just take a moment before we get into the webinar full force. Let's take a look at this little skit, this little clip from Friends, highlighting listening and speaking. Okay. I show this to students. They get a kick out of this. And then I ask them to talk about it. Okay. So let's just see what goes on here.
It seems pretty simple. Your first line is, "My name is Claude." So just repeat after me. Je m'appelle Claude.
Je découpe Claude.
Let's try it again.
Okay.
Je m'appelle Claude.
Je déplie blue.
It's not quite what I'm saying.
Really? Sounds exactly the same to me.
Does? Really?
Yeah.
All right, let's just try it again.
Okay.
Really listen.
Got it.
Je m'appelle Claude.
Je te flou flie.
Oh, mon Dieu.
Oh, de fouf.
So when I show this to students, they start to laugh, right? They get a kick out of this. And I say, "Okay, Joey, what was he doing? Was he listening?" And some students argue and say, "Well, he was listening, but he wasn't listening very well." So I said, "Okay, he was passively listening to her, right? He wasn't actively listening." And I said, "Was Phoebe speaking clearly? Was she pronunciating the words in a way that he could grasp what she was saying?" "Yes, absolutely." "Was she patient?" "Yes, absolutely." "Was she trying to give him some form of positive reinforcement?" "Well, yes." "Okay." So why couldn't he do it? Why couldn't he say what she was saying, right? What was holding him back? Well, some of the things that are holding our students back, all right? And of course, we have to look at this from our students' perspective, okay? Speaking from our students' perspective. In order to look at it though from their perspective, I'm going to put all of you on the spot right now, okay? I would like you in the question box because there are many of you with us right now, and I want to thank you all for joining with us tonight. I want you to write in the question box, when you were learning English, when you were taught English and you had to speak, whether you were a student, as a child, whether you were an adult learning English, I want to ask you, and be honest in the question box, how did you feel when you were asked to speak? When you were asked to participate, when you were asked to give your opinion in class, how did you feel? Think about this for a moment while I talk about this particular quote. Speak in such a way that others will love to listen to you. Listen in such a way that others will love to speak to you. So be that active listener when your students are speaking. And speak in a way to your students that they will all love to listen to you. So Irina starts with, not confident. Maria says totally scared. Wait, whoa, wait a minute. Oh my goodness, it's flying. Wait a minute, the question box is just going crazy. Hold on a second. Ah, okay. Awkward. Pass me, please. Someone else. Embarrassed, afraid of mistakes. Actually, I was so afraid even when I was in college. I have always enjoyed my speaking sessions as a student. Sarah, good on you. Sort of exposed. I was afraid of making mistakes, fear of committing grammatical mistakes, worried, shy. I always tried to hide, right? Nervous, uncertain, scared, shy, hesitated, uncomfortable, reluctant. Wow, terrified. Thank you, guys. Making mistakes. You guys are spot on tonight. So, fear of being judged. So, guess what, guys? Okay. If you were feeling like this, then using the soft skill of empathy, you can understand where your students are coming from. What I don't understand is, why don't we share these experiences with our students? Why don't we tell them how we felt when we started learning English? How we feel maybe even now sometimes when we have to speak in English, we feel a little bit nervous sometimes, unsure sometimes. If you do that, you are connecting with how your students are feeling. So the first thing is, how do they feel? This is what we're going to explore. Look at speaking from our students' perspective. How do they feel? Second, we're going to try to change their mindset because they all have a kind of mixed up mindset regarding English and speaking in specific, right? And third, what is it that they need exactly to help them, to support them, to nurture them through the educational process of English and speaking and communicating? So you just showed me that you can get how they're feeling because you felt the same way. And this is the magic behind teaching. That teaching is not just about the content. I am a firm believer that education now more than ever before, and it's going to go like this for a long time in the future, for many, many years on, that it's about our interactions with our students, how we form these relationships, right? This will help them to build their motivation, right? And their self-confidence. And making mistakes is okay, and trying because they trust you. And they trust their peers, their friends in class. So for those of you who have been with me during the webinar, Social and Emotional Intelligence, this is going to look very familiar to you, okay? The reason why I have placed it here again is because, as I said, all the webinars, they link in a way. So with emotions and feelings, it's linked to speaking, okay? So how do our students feel? All of their emotions matter. It matters in class, online, face-to-face. We need to be aware of those emotions. We need to be aware that they may need to express those. They may need to talk about them. We cannot force a student to answer a question or to speak if their emotional thermometer is off the chart. Because too many students, correct me if I'm wrong, are suppressing their emotions now because of this really troubling time. And it really hurts me sometimes because I see what's going on in education globally. That from March till now, the students have just been all over the place. Some countries in lockdown still, some countries with quarantine, some countries in and out of lockdown as Greece is right now. And so students have been experiencing so many things in their home. They have been engulfed in this. So they need an outlet, right? At school, it was great because they were able to socialize with their friends face to face, right? That innate need for human contact was there. Now, with online teaching, it's not, Okay, as much as we would like it to be, it's not. And so we have to connect with our students and understand these emotions that they are suppressing. A full range of emotions are exactly what makes us human. So I want you all to use your awareness, your self-awareness, and the awareness of others in catching and seeing how your students are feeling. These emotions that we have are ultimately what gets us through life, gets us through life. How are we getting through life when stores are locked down, when people cannot work, when people's paychecks are cut, when the economies are going, when, um, excuse me, when students are learning online, but they're not really grasping the full effect of what we can deliver, right? Life has changed temporarily with all of this. Therefore, communication has been broken down. Okay. And finally, emotions assist and help in communication. So this is why, if this is how you were, if this is how you felt when you were learning English, talk to them about it. Have them start opening up to you and to their friends, and they will see that they have similar experiences going on in their homes. And once this breath of fresh air, so to speak, this release of anxiety, anxiousness, stress, fear leaves as much as it can, you will see a different student slowly in front of you. So now it's time to conduct an activity. Please, kindly, if you have, um, find some paper, a pencil, a pen. Use your cell phone if you must. We are going to conduct a little activity regarding our students and speaking. Okay. I want to get you into the, let's say, into the zone of what we should look out for with our students. Okay. So first things first, put your thinking caps on, and I want you to think about and reflect on a student, one particular student that has a really tough time with expressing themselves and speaking. Okay. I want you to have his or her face in your mind right now. On that piece of paper, I want you to please write down his or her name. Okay. Have you written down their full name? Okay. You have their face. It's vivid. You're writing down their name. It's clear, right? And now I want you to close your eyes and I want you to picture this student's nonverbals. Now, what do I mean by nonverbals? Think of the moment where you have asked them to speak and write down something that they do, their nonverbal body language, something that they do that shows you that they are not comfortable with what you asked them to do. Now, can you do me a favor, please? Can you share what they do in the question box? Can you please share with me your experience? So you have their face, you have their name, you're thinking about something that they do when you ask them to participate, when you call on them. What is it that they do? What is their reaction? So they lower their eyes. So there's no eye contact, right? They avoid eye contact. They shiver, um, not looking at your eyes anymore. They put their heads down. They just look straight at your eyes. This is the opposite now, right? Like the deer in the headlights when a car is coming. They're just focused on you like this, right? They cannot breathe. They get so nervous that they don't even want to look at you. A student blushes, gets tense, right? You can see confusion in their face, scared in their face. They mumble and hesitate, or they have to go to the bathroom, right? They stare at me, they start sweating, they draw some lines, sweating. Guys, this is fantastic. Because if you are aware of these tells, these signs, right? They try to hide behind the person in front of them. Um, if you are aware of these tells, what do we do to have them relax? We'll get to that in a moment, okay? So you have this student, you have written down what they do. Now, not in the question box, I want you to please write down 3 things that you know about this student. Please write down, not in the question box, write down 3 things that you know about this student. What do you know about this student? Besides that they have difficulty with speaking, what do you know about them? Their likes, their dislikes, movies, songs, apps, food, their family life. What do you know about them? Write down 3 things that you know. It's so important to know your kids, isn't it? So, next question. This question that I just showed you, I would like you to answer it in the question box too, please. Is this student a lower, average, or higher performing student? Can you please write that in the question box? Is he or she a lower, average, or higher performing student? Lower, highest, average, lower, lower, average, lower, lower, average, average, average in performance, but really intelligent. Average, lower, average, average, higher. Give you 10 more seconds just to write it. Lower, lower to average, okay? Higher, lower. Couple more seconds, come on. Lower most of the times. Lower, average. So what does this tell us? What does this tell us? That when it comes to speaking, guys, right? When it comes to speaking, does it matter what level they are? Absolutely not. Because students, whether they are lower, average, or higher, they have difficulty in speaking. And you also have one that is higher. Yes, because you want to know why. These higher performing students practice speaking in a very structured format, usually to prepare for a test, for an exam, for a paper. But if you approach them, if I were to approach them and just start a chit chat with them about any random topic, I can guarantee you all that that higher performing student will definitely have a nonverbal that will show me that they are not ready, that they are nervous, that they are not confident enough. So when it comes to speaking, it doesn't matter what level they are. Okay. So what can we do to have our students relax? What can we do in class to have them not feel and have these tells when we ask them to speak, right? Well, in our classroom, we should have a classroom culture. When I was teaching in New York, I had a vision, a mission, I had a mantra, right, in my class, a saying, like a quote. And I had a classroom culture. And part of that culture was that In this class, we motivate one another, we encourage one another, we respect one another. And in doing so, when people spoke, everybody listened attentively. And we always clapped for their participation, for their idea, no matter what it was their courage to speak. Did they make mistakes? Absolutely. Did I correct their mistakes? Absolutely. How did I do it? By praising them, having the class give them a clap, a ooh-ah, right? Getting them pumped, seeing that smile on their face like, oh, come on, thank you. And then repeating what they said correctly, asking them to repeat it again the way I said it. They spoke, I listened actively. I'm speaking back, they are listening actively. They are repeating what I said, and at that moment, as they are repeating what I said, they hear in their mind the mistake that they had made being spoken correctly, and they go, oh man, I said it wrong. But my teacher didn't tell me it was wrong. My teacher didn't say I made a mistake so that I could look like an idiot in front of my friends. Oh, thank goodness. Right? And so you are giving them reinforcement for their participation and for their courage. Praise their effort, not their performance. Absolutely. It's a kind of feedback. Absolutely. We are motivating them. Absolutely. It is exhausting. Whew, absolutely. But this is the magic, because the students around them are not going to look at them and make them feel embarrassed, because you are stepping in, right, and correcting them. Okay. So these emotions, as you can see here with this student, look at the emotion in this student's face. Does she look like she was asked to say something, to give her opinion on something? Look at her. Does she look ready? Absolutely not, right? Yes, every student's opinion matters. And so, how are they feeling? We've got this now. Okay, we've understood this. We've made the connection. Now, these feelings, these emotions are also affecting their mindset. And so, their mindset are divided into different zones. The first zone is the growth zone. This is the zone that we want students to reach at the end of their educational career, to find their purpose, to live their dreams and aspirations, to set new goals every year, and to conquer objectives that lie before them. Okay. In order to get them to this growth zone, though, and this can happen at any time, this doesn't necessarily have to happen at the end of high school. This can happen at the end of primary school. This can happen at the end of each year, for heaven's sake. It all depends on how we connect with our students. Okay, so growth zone. We go and we look now at their learning zone, where they spend day in and day out with us, facing the challenges of English, solving the problems that are given to them through using the English language, acquiring new skill sets, 21st century skills, the macro skills and the micro skills of English, soft skills, global skills, life skills. All of these skills being given through the learning zone and the growth zone. And thus trying to assist them to break out further from their comfort zone, to extend this comfort zone, to make it wider. Because right now, our students are in the fear zone because of all of this stuff that's going on. It's widening this fear zone. Again, this is a webinar on professional development. I'm not saying this goes for all schools, all students, all countries. Okay. But this is something that we need to think about, that our students' low self-confidence, how they're finding excuses, and they're affected by other people's opinions are not what should be happening right now. And in the triangular relationship of education, where we have the students, us, and then the parents, this is also where they come in. They are not helping with this fear zone because their comfort zone is where they're safe and in control, low risk, low reward. But this is not where we want them, right? We want to take that comfort zone, right, and extend it past the fear so that the learning zone, all of this yellow that you see, in fact, is their comfort zone. Okay. That they're comfortable in facing challenges, that they're comfortable in solving problems, in acquiring new skills. Thus, their confidence gets raised. They don't find any more excuses, and they don't care about the opinions of others. When all of this happens, do you know how they will speak with you? Do you know how speaking becomes a lot easier for them? It's incredible. Okay. So as we look at the green circle, the growth zone, we're going to look at the two basic mindsets that you have seen before, and that is a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. And we want our students to be full on, totally engaged, hooked in to a growth mindset, not with a fixed. Okay. There are times when I give a presentation and I see comments, and I don't know if I'm blushing right now. And I get complimented, and I'm not very good with compliments. Um, thank you very much for that compliment. Please tell your husband thank you, um, wholeheartedly. So with the fixed mindset and the growth mindset, there's a big difference, because when students think that they have this innate super intelligence with English, that they have been given these smarts of English, it's the total antithesis of students who find success by really working hard, by hustling, grit, making those mistakes, not worrying about it, because when we make mistakes, it means we're trying and we're going to work harder. Now let's take a look at this. Okay, let's take a look at this explanation. If you have to work hard, says the student, then you don't have ability. This is the student who has what mindset? The fixed mindset. Believe that they are stuck with however much intelligence they are born with. This is a fixed mindset. When they fail, though, these particular students feel trapped. When they fail, though, what is their excuse? You are the excuse. They start thinking they must not be as talented or smart as everyone's been telling them. They avoid challenges. They're fearful that they won't look smart. And so when they get the bad grade, remember accountability, that slide I showed you? And when was it? And soft skills, I think it was, and why we teach the way we do. Who comes knocking at our doors with the fixed mindset students? The parents. And they say, excuse me, my student, my child, your student, he is very, very good in English. He gets grades in all his other subjects, very, very high grades, good grades. I don't understand why this happened, because he is very smart. He is perfect. Well, there you go. You just proved your point. This is why he's like this or she's like this, right? The flip side is the more you challenge yourself, the smarter you become. Believe that intelligence can be nurtured. The more learning they do, the smarter they become. When faced with setbacks, they believe that, you know what? I can improve by putting in the time, putting in the effort, studying harder, studying smarter. They value learning above looking smart. This is what I want. This is what we should be working towards. Having all students under the umbrella of a growth mindset. So let's think about this a little bit further, shall we? Okay, just follow me, okay? This is the last slide regarding this, but it's important that we talk about this because I've been seeing that more and more students are, for some reason, getting stuck in this fixed mindset uh, because of outside, let's say, outside forces, so to speak. So we are helping our students for a speaking test, the speaking section of a test, and we're giving them a mock speaking test. We have student one where we say, wow, that's an impressive score on your mock speaking test. You must be smart at this, all right? Okay. Student two comes, gives us the results, and we say, gives us their answers, and we look at the results and we say, wow, that's a really good score on your mock speaking test. You must have tried really hard, right? Now, we don't think sometimes on our comments that we say to students. So the student in the first feedback is a fixed mindset. The student in the second is a growth. You and I as teachers are going to continue to prepare our students for the speaking test, including presenting them with other activities. Some of these activities, mock tests, are going to be harder, more challenging, and some are going to be easier. We are going to have the students, though, choose which one they want. Clear? Okay. What task, what activity will the students who were praised for their effort choose? The students that we said, you must have tried really hard, the growth mindset. What would they choose? What do you think? Would they choose the harder, challenging test, or would they choose the easier test? What do you guys think, teachers? If you could write it in the question box, what do you guys think? Interesting. Ooh, interesting. Okay. Ooh, okay. We're tied. Come on, there's so many of you with us today. We're over 100 strong. That's amazing. That's awesome. Where are all of you? Come on, come into the question box. Don't be shy. I'm not going to ask you to speak. You just have to write. Come on. Good. Okay. So we have, okay. Some of you said easier. Many of you are saying harder. All right. Okay. Yes, they're going to want the harder, more challenging tasks because these students that have a growth mindset, those are the ones that are motivated and confident. Those are the ones who are going to continue feeling this motivation to learn, to retain that confidence as problems get harder. Okay. Why would students praised for their intelligence choose the easier tasks? Higher chances of success. They lose their confidence as problems get harder and they make mistakes, right? So someone just wrote, we have to use both students' voice and choice. Okay. Yes, look, this is interesting though to see decisions, autonomous learning and decision making, responsible decision making. What do students choose if they are given an opportunity to, to say, okay, I would prefer this or that. True growth mindsets are those where the student will say, you know what? I've already done this. Why should I do it again? Why should I do something of a lower level? Give it to me. I'm going to do it. I'm confident enough that if I make a mistake, it's okay because I'm learning, right? Whereas the others, they're not as confident because they haven't been taught that. It's not part of the wiring of a fixed mindset. Okay. So these are the faces, these are the nonverbals that we want to see in class. Okay. with the mindset that we're talking about and the emotion that we're talking about. Okay. So we have emotion, right? We have um, connecting with our students, being aware of what's going on in our classroom, taking that into consideration, being empathic, right? And then we have that a student's mindset is somewhat fixed because of past experiences, because of influencers and their immediate environment. And, the English language um, is something that is sometimes not taken seriously enough, right? So, what do our students need? What do they need? Well, this picture here kind of summarizes it. They need love, they need kindness, they need nurturing, not just by us teachers, but by their families, by their guardians, by their parents. Um, yes, they need the support, right? They need love and confidence, yes. Understanding, yes. Um, they need to learn. They need to think, right? They need to think for themselves, right? Um, this particular cutie patootie here, uh, tolerance, yes. Danica, yes. Tolerance, to feel important, right? To have a purpose, right? To believe, in them that they can do it, Yes. I love it. You guys are fabulous tonight. Okay. Your comments are amazing. Very good. So this cutie patootie here actor, Mr. Jacob Tremblay, he is the actor from the movie Wonder. Now, if you have not seen this movie, please, this is your homework assignment. Watch the movie. There are just a plethora of lessons in this movie that can be used with your students. He had to be given um, makeup for hours and hours to look like this, okay, for the movie. Um, Wahiba, yes, I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. And we're also going to talk about that, I think it's next week or the week after, about parents and their role in education. Um, yes, sometimes parents put their hands up and they say, you know what? I'm finished. I'm done. This whole entire experience with coronavirus has really put them over the edge. And unfortunately, their students are the ones, their children are the ones who are getting the brunt of everything that's going on, which is why speaking is so important. Because if this is happening and you see this, you need to connect and have them open up with you, right? Which I'm sure they're going to do if they haven't already. Okay. So, um, I'm going to show you a clip from this movie, and I want you to be very, very aware of the words that are being used by his mother, his father, his sister, the body language that is being used. I don't think you need tissues for this one. For the movie, you do. I will be totally honest. Um, every time I see this clip, I always get a little verklempt. I get a little bit teary-eyed, but it's not for that purpose. Okay. All right. So let's take a look. And and I'm showing this because communication, right? It starts at the home. If they don't have it at home, then it's okay. Don't worry. It's okay. Um, if you if they don't have it at home, then they will find it with you. So be open to that. Okay.
I'll meet you right here after school. Okay? Right here. Love you too.
Sorry, just to give you some background knowledge. This is the first day that he's going to school because he has been homeschooled his whole life because of how he looks. So this is the first day that he's going to school. I needed to say that before. My apologies.
Right here after school. Okay? Right here.
Love you too.
I'll see you later.
Can you hear me? They stare. Let them stare. You can't blend in when you were born to stand out.
We're gonna have a lot of land over here. Now, I gotta stop here because past this point is a no dad zone and you don't want to walk up with your parents because it's not cool.
But you're cool.
No, I am, but technically most dads aren't, so neither are these helmets. Hey, 2 rules. First, only raise your hand once a class, no matter how many answers you know, except for science. Crush them.
Check.
Second, you're gonna feel like you're all alone all game, but you're not. Should we lose this? Come on. Costumes are for Halloween. Prepare for blast off. I love you.
Love you too.
Have fun.
Bye.
Have an excellent mission and Godspeed. We are ready to proceed at this time. 10, 9, 8, 7.
Dear God, please make them be nice to each other.
So, someone just asked, let me just write this to you all. The name of the movie is, I'll send it to all of you. The name of the movie is Wonder. Wonder. Okay. So let's just quickly recap. Let them, please let them be nice to him. Kindness. Kindness helps with speaking. Number 1. Number 2, the father says, go and have fun. Make, I get goosebumps every time I say this. Have your lessons as fun as possible. Make them as enjoyable. Have the experience with you as enjoyable as possible. That simple 3-letter word assists in speaking. Okay. He says to him that it's going to be difficult, right? You're going to feel alone. Students now in education, because of everything that is going on, feel lonely. It is something that is has increased exponentially. Depression, loneliness, isolation that students are feeling. They don't know how to talk about it. They don't know it that this is what they're feeling, but it's happening. So that also needs to be addressed through speaking. Okay. Rosario, that's a very interesting point. I believe that, give me a moment. My colleague who is on with me, Rosario's comment just now, something to be looked into. Remind me of that, okay? Please. That is very, 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 very good. So yes, what do they need? They need support by their parents. If they don't get it, then that's where we come in like superheroes. Okay, big time. Okay, guys. So in high school, with our online learning, and in primary school in our online learning, there are 2 different spectrums of what's going on. In high school, we log on and we just say, can anyone at least just say good morning? Can someone just open up their mouths and speak to us? And in primary school, especially in their L1 language, they just come in and they just want to talk, right? Because they're excited, this is different. This is, something that they want to show you things around the house. They're just acting silly, etc. Right? John, yes, that too. You are all asking such amazing questions. As soon as I finish with this presentation, I promise you, because it's the last one I have for today, I will stay on if you wish, if you have time, and I will address some of these, okay? I promise, really I do. So this is just a cute little slide showing the differences between high school and primary school with online learning. I want us to think about something first, though, regarding speaking in general, right, and the English language. Sometimes there is a problem because of our school system. The importance of English in the curriculum, the budget that we are given. Some countries, some schools appreciate it, they understand it, they put it as a priority, that English is the universal language. We must prepare our students as much as possible for their English skills for life. In other areas, it's not like this. And so we have to think about this and address this issue. If English is not considered important, if students don't understand the purpose of English, right, then why should they participate? Right? Why should they even bother doing it? If their parents are telling them, I bought the book, I want you to finish the book, get the test, pass the test, get the paper, and I'm okay. That's very limited. It's so much beyond just that. So the communicative approach is not just a simple activity that we can talk about during this webinar. Everything plays a role with this. Large classes, right? Who speaks first in a large class? Where do you start with speaking in a large class? Have yourself a checklist with your students' names in every day of the week. And if you have a large class, especially online, group your students and do cold calling with your students to make sure that they all participate. Cold calling is an incredible way of having students be aware, engaged at a moment's notice, because they don't know they don't know if you're going to call on them or not. You don't wait for someone to participate. You approach them and participate and say, okay, Maria, yes, I would like you to answer the following question. And she'll be like, what? Oh, what? Okay. And little by little, students will realize that it could be my turn, so I should pay attention. In standardized tests, teaching for a test or learning for a grade, what is it? Right? In a large class, the teacher speaks first. I think in a large class, maybe the teacher should plant the seed and let the students break up into groups, and we start facilitating and monitoring what's going on, right? It's called controlled chaos. It is chaotic when a lot of students talk in a class. It does get quite loud, but why not, right? Limited class time. There's not enough hours in the curriculum for English. There are some schools that I visited, I think it was in Latin America too, that they have 1 hour, and I think it was in Turkey also, that they have 1 hour a week of just speaking. It's just 1 hour of speaking with a native teacher, right? And I thought that was incredible, because at least, they're given that moment where there's nothing else done than just speaking for the entire lesson, okay? So these are things that we have to think about, because everything is connected in education, okay? Now, there's one micro skill that I want to share with you that I feel is the heart of communication. And it's not reading, it's not grammar, it's not listening, obviously. It's vocabulary. To listen and understand what the other person is saying and then reply What helps us most with this is vocabulary, to catch keywords and then to connect the meaning, the comprehension, conceptualizing, and then saying, okay, I can answer you now, right? And so I think that if we focus a little bit more on vocabulary, it will certainly enhance their communicative approach. Now, reading as a macro skill also does that. It opens doors, right? In expression, in ideas, in creativity, in critical thinking, right? The more you read, the more you know, the more places you will go, right? Dr. Seuss. But that is part of the bridge between the two pillars, okay? Part of the bridge. So, what can I offer you for vocabulary with students? Well, how about this? Some of the best words literally ever, okay? Which ones do you use? Bamboozled, discombobulated, I use that one. Malarkey, skedaddle, just skedaddle, leave, skedaddle. Flibberg, I've done this webinar so many times and I still can't, it's a tongue twister. Flibbergibbet, whippersnapper, oh, you're such a whippersnapper. Pumpernickel, poppycock, persnickety, dingleberry. I am totally flabbergasted. Oh, stop with those shenanigans, horsing around. Kerfuffle, you're such a nincompoop. What is that over there? Can you give me that? Oh, what is that called? Give me that thingamajig. Whatchamacallit? Whatchamacallit? Besides the candy bar, right? They called the candy bar after that. Flamoxed, gobbledygook, canoodle, godswallop. All right, vocabulary. It's kind of freaky that these are actual words, okay? But this is a fabulous, enjoyable, fun activity to break them up into groups, give them 2 or 3 words for each group, have them research the words, have them use it in a sentence, have them present it to others, to the rest of the class. And then at the end of the day, they all have this list of vocabulary words, okay? Now, dealing with vocabulary, because I'm going to focus on this for a moment. Please, I cannot stand when students try to memorize vocabulary. It doesn't work. Try this system, the SRS system, spaced repetition system. Using the word in context, using the word in real life situations, but doing it in this particular manner. I've used this with my kids. My daughter is 12, my son is 7, and it works. My son went to school today and he had, let's say, Greek lesson in the first 2 periods of his day. So that was like around 9 to 10 o'clock, 9 to 10:30. We start to review what he did today at around 6. So 7 hours after they have been given the vocabulary, you repeat the vocabulary in usage, to use the words, okay? Then I'm going to look at today's vocabulary tomorrow at 7 o'clock, okay? I'm going to repeat it again tomorrow at 7. Tomorrow, though, he's also going to review tomorrow's vocabulary that was given to him, the new vocabulary. The third time that I'm going to do this is next Wednesday. I'm going to bring up today's vocabulary somehow in communication, in reading, in a movie, in usage. And what does this do, guys? What does this do? This is breaking the chain of short-term memory. This is activating long-term memory because of influencers, right? This is short-term memory, what's in here. And because our students are being programmed for short-term memory usage, it is minimizing their long-term memory. They don't know how to use it. They don't know how to capitalize on it. They don't know how to exercise it. This will help you. Good? Great. Start using vocab, words, expressions into conversation immediately. Give me 5 more minutes. I'm sorry, I'm running over. I do apologize. Um, even when talking to yourself, yes, talking to yourself. Students take selfies all the time. They do TikToks, right? They talk to themselves in the camera, talking to themselves. Use vocabulary that they've learned. Make connections. It's how our brain works. Don't for video selfies. Don't forget your prior knowledge. Listen and read whatever you can to get your hands on in English. Bombard them with English, guys. Okay, my son is inside right now with his grandmother. He's watching Netflix because this is his downtime. But what is he watching on Netflix? He's watching super cool shows that have meaning in English with English subtitles so he can start grasping and connecting words. Okay, the natural approach, yes. All right. Parents, though, need to be involved in this. This is why I've created that webinar on how to involve parents in the triangular relationship. Everything is connected. And finally, the power of sleep, reorganizing what we learned. Kids are not getting enough of this because of this quarantine. They're all off of their sleeping patterns. All right, their sleeping schedules. It's so important for them to get a good night's sleep. All right. So something just really fun to show, things that I'm super good at. To make connections to real life, right? Forgetting someone's name in 30 seconds after they tell me. Yes, that's happened to me. Running late, that is, sometimes. Making plans, then regretting making them. Yes, sometimes. Thinking of a great comeback, but an hour later, too late. Yep, that's happened to me. Digging through the trash for the food box I just tossed because I already forgot the directions. Not really. Adding items to online carts and then deleting them. Not really. Googling things that are wrong with me and then panicking. Yes, I have to admit, I've done that. Leaving laundry to wrinkle in the dryer. Yes, I've done that too. This, unfortunately, I've been doing a lot more, and it's kind of freaking me out. Forgetting why I walked into a room. Alzheimer moment. And finally, calculating how much sleep I'll get if I can just fall asleep right now. That's also kind of been happening a little bit more. Anyway, find things, prepare interesting things to connect with students, movie clips, themes from movies, lessons learned in movies, these funny little memes and GIFs and lists to share with your students. So just very quickly, why are we not communicating as we used to? Why are we not communicating as we used to? Like when we were kids, right? When I observe what's going on in public, yes, there you go. 4 people just wrote it, technology. When I see wonderful couples walking the streets, when I see families sitting at dinner and they're all with their cell phones, he's tweeting and she's watching a bird tweeting, right? Come on. One time I went to lunch here in the town I live in with my son, and we sat down and we started to have a really great time building little houses with the sugar packs. And there was a family of 4 next to us, a mother, a father, a son, and a daughter. I kid you not, all 4 of them were on their cell phones. And I just said to myself, are you serious? Right? When we were kids, we didn't have this. I saw here in Greece that after the first lockdown, when they allowed us back out again, I have to say that the playgrounds were booming with kids. They were all playing, making friends with strangers. It was fabulous. I did not see this picture. It was totally different because of They needed that socialization so much, right? So much. But yet, that just lasted a couple of weeks. And then you start seeing, the kids walking around with their cell phones again. To effectively communicate, we must realize that we are actually all very different, very authentic, very unique in the way that we perceive the world we live in, and use this understanding as a guide to our communication with others. My dear friends, my dear colleagues in arms, educators, I want to thank you very, very much for your patience, your time, your understanding.